Welcome to Ben Talks Film. We have a busy day today. We're talking the Oscars. We're talking physical media. We're talking Regal. We are talking Donald Trump's censorship and a lot more to cover. So today's going to be a very jam-packed episode. We're going to be diving into it all. Let's just start with the biggest focus of this week in the world of movies, and that is the Venice and Telluride Film Festival going on as we speak. It has been going on for the past week, and we've had some huge titles premiere that are going to be juggernauts throughout this award season. So let's just talk about a few of the ones that have premiered and where they stand at this moment, what's surprising, what's fallen off. So let's talk about the first film. I believe the initial reactions came out today, Tuesday, September 2nd, and it is A House of Dynamite. This is the new Catherine Bigelow movie. And I was shocked with how glowingly positive the reviews for this movie are. I think the online community can be very weird when it comes to Catherine Bigelow, especially some of the politics that she displays in her movie. This came out with glowing reviews. I saw Pete Hammond for Deadline wrote, "A House of Dynamite is a wake-up call, a cold shower, a reckoning, and one hell of a motion picture." That is one hell of a statement from Pete Hammond. I am so excited to see A House of Dynamite. This has been a movie that, I think the last time Catherine Bigelow made a movie, yeah, that's correct, 2016's Detroit. Before that, 2012, Zero Dark 30. So this is really her first movie in close to a decade. And this review got me excited from David Rooney from Hollywood Reporter. Purely as a feat of adrenaline pumping editing and cinematography, this movie is a knockout. That is what Catherine Bigelow does very well. I was curious if this film was going to be an awards play or if this was going to be more of a genre play / just a really well done thriller. I think it might be both. I bumped this movie quite up in my predictions ranking for Best Picture. We'll talk about that in a second when I go over my power rankings. Let's talk about a film that had a little bit of a tepid response. So moving over, we're talking about a film that was one of the first films that premiered at Venice, and then it also screened at Telluride. The Telluride reactions to Jay Kelly have been far more positive than what we've seen out of Venice. Out of Venice, it was getting pretty maligned. I saw some positive reviews. I do think there is a huge distinction between American critics reviewing this movie and the international body reviewing this movie. It seems to have played much better at Telluride. I'm seeing a lot more love and support for Noah Baumbach's. I saw online when the reviews of this movie started posting, there is a huge group of Noah Baumbach detractors. I think it's just they don't care for his style. They don't care for his filmographies, the smallness of those stories, him returning to certain themes over and over again, and this movie feeling a bit self-indulgent. I already saw people kind of comparing this to this year's Maestro, and that's going to be an Oscar villain. That's just people deciding for themselves that they want to be haters early on. Ultimately, there's some good stuff out of Jay Kelly. I noticed David Elric, who gave the movie a B- for IndieWire, a gorgeously bittersweet short faller that hits hardest as a cautionary tale about the perils of trying to avoid oneself in a world that only allows us to act like there's anyone else for us to be. Owen Gleiberman for Variety. Oh, sorry, wrong reviews. David Rooney for The Hollywood Reporter. There's a pleasure to be had from Sandler's nuanced work and form from the ensemble's ridiculously deep bench of gifted supporting players, but the director's fourth feature for Netflix is mid-tier Baumbach at best. I'm still very excited for Jay Kelly. Again, the Telluride response I saw far more positive. I was looking at my letterbox, Ben Talks Film for anyone who wants to follow it, and I noticed guys that I follow like David Sims, like Sean Fennessy, they either gave hearts to the film. I think David Sims may have even given it a 4.5 already. So there is a response, and Sean Fennessy's the guy that I learned about Noah Baumbach through. So to hear him say that he liked this movie, I have a good hope that I'm really going to dig this movie, and it doesn't sway any of my predictions. I still, at this moment, have Jay Kelly in my top 10 for Oscar predictions. Let's jump over to a movie that I really wasn't sure of before the screening of it. I wasn't sure how to feel about Yorgos's newest film, Begonia, which ended up just being a huge winner at Venice, and I believe it also premiered at Telluride. Reviews were through the roofs. Emma Stone, Jesse Plemons, people are loving it. I've heard some people say that it is lesser than Poor Things and that this movie is more hard edged, that this movie doesn't have some of that optimism and feel good energy that Poor Things does have. This movie's a little bit meaner. I saw Cody Garrick, who I've actually been messaging this whole time while he's at Venice. He said in his review, there are moments where the screenplay doesn't seem to lend itself to a humorous tone. Another director might shy away from that, but Lanthimos plays up the ridiculousness of the situation, leading to a surprisingly enjoyable film given the subject. 3 out of 5 stars. I do not know how to feel about Begonia. I saw the trailer, it looks beautiful in the way all Yorgos Lanthimos movies do look gorgeous, and I have all the belief in the world in Jesse Plemons and Emma Stone. You cannot doubt Emma Stone at this point. I would not be shocked if she's an Oscar frontrunner at this point. Again, I think she's going to be in that race. Sometimes Yorgos is very hit or miss for me, so I'm curious to see how I'm going to respond to this movie. I do typically like a little bit more, I guess, pop energy, if you want to call it that, in Yorgos. Some of his meaner films, like Kinds of Kindness, I just can't get past the cynicism of that film, and it's just a huge drawback for me. So I'm hoping Begonia has something that I can latch onto. There was a film that just got destroyed in a way that even I was surprised about. I have this movie coming up on my most anticipated list, and honestly, I made this list before the initial reviews for this movie came out, and now I'm like, oh, should I have backed this down a little bit? I had skepticism about After the Hunt. I heard the premise of the movie about this being a college campus Me Too story and cancel culture and all these things that this director is exploring, and the director's name is, it is blanking me at this very moment. It is the guy who just gave us Challengers. It will come to me in a second, but After the Hunt, Luca Guadagnino, that's his name. I was surprised how brutal these reviews were out of Venice. I believe it had a Telluride premiere too, but I'm not positive. Everything that I've heard about this movie is it just comes down to the script. The script is not strong enough to justify anything within this movie, in that it feels like a very muddled experience, which is very troubling when you're talking about this subject matter, when there is something rich to be said. I saw somebody compare this to a poor man's Tar. From people who I know who read the script of After the Hunt, because the script was released out there, I believe this is one of those scripts that had been trying to be made for years. It was on the blacklist or whatever they call it. People were like, the script's the issue with this movie. This movie cannot really overcome it. Kind of seems like that's the case. I noticed in Peter Bradshaw's review for The Guardian, he wrote, it is a worryingly muddled and contrived, perhaps it needs a further script draft to execute a clearer and more satisfying drama inside. To be honest, I watched the trailer and that's kind of what I thought about the movie, where I'm like, really? Like, this is the tone they're taking? This is the approach? This looks so generic. This looks so boring. I'm not a Julia Roberts fan, so initially that also got me worried, where I'm just like, I don't know if she's strong enough for this source material. In fairness, people have been very complimentary towards her performance. Seems that Andrew Garfield, seems like most of the leads are getting pretty good performances out of them. I've heard some drawback on Aya's casting. I think that's just a little bit of drawback in how many films she's been in and how much she hasn't been really landing in those films. I don't know. She has a lot to prove to me. I'm not necessarily a fan of hers yet. I can't really say I've cared for a project she's been in. She's had a few moments here and there, but really hasn't worked for me overall. This film, though, climbed in my rankings, and it's No Other Choice, which is the new Park Chan-wook film. One of the reasons No Other Choice really grew in my estimation was because I knew this film was going to have an uphill battle. For those who are not aware of what's going on with the context of this movie, a few weeks ago, Park Chan-wook and the other writer for No Other Choice got expelled from the Writers Guild Academy. Basically saying that they broke rules during the strike, that they were writing this. There was all sorts of confusion. It's been brought up to question who was, who didn't know. Was this clearly communicated by the Writers Guild, what was and what wasn't? There seems to be a lot of confusion on what people could do during the strike. All doesn't really matter. It ends up in Park Chan-wook being expelled from this branch. And when that happened, I'm like, well, he needs to get the support of the branch to get through. Can he win anything big without the writers being behind him? And, the Writers Guild being such a huge voting member of the Academy. No other choice came out, and if there is any chance of this movie succeeding at a high level, it's because the reviews are just astonishingly good. David Elric for IndieWire wrote, who gave it an A-, I should say, stating that the rare film that feels sympathetic towards its protagonist without ever rooting for him. And Lee's elastic performance as Mansu is the key at the balancing act of Park's tragic comic tone. This is like all the reviews. I saw Jessica King, the latest exhibit in the mounting body of evidence suggesting Park Chan-wook may be the most elegant filmmaker alive. This is going to be a movie of Park Chan-wook's that I see in theaters. It looks like he has it ready to go. This is an exploration of the corporate world. I'm very excited for this movie, hearing all the best things about it. This movie is getting so acclaimed out of the festival circuit. This might be the most acclaimed movie that we've had this year from this festival circuit. One film that didn't get the reviews that I was kind of hoping it would, it seems that's a little mixed positive right now, is Frankenstein. I should just mention I've been messaging Cody back and forth again while he's at Venice, Cody Derricks, that is. And I've just been, as he's been posting his reactions to the movie, I kind of just keep messaging back and forth. I'm like, what was the reception of this movie? What was the crowd like? He said in the room Frankenstein was kind of muted for what it was, that there was a lot of kind of back and forth on people after he had left the auditorium with people talking about this movie. I've heard the words kind of associated with Guillermo del Toro thrown around. It's gorgeous. When Guillermo del Toro makes a film, that's almost expected at this point. It is going to be a lavish set piece, and the frame is going to feel so alive. The criticism that del Toro has always had is he more style over substance? I personally think he is great at both, but a lot of people feel that he is style over substance, and they don't connect with it. I personally have hope for this movie. I have this so high on my most anticipated list. Frankenstein's one of my favorite books ever written. Guillermo del Toro, I think, is a great adapter of this story. I'm really, really hoping. I've heard Jacob Elordi's great. I'm a little nervous that I haven't heard much praise for any of the other cast besides Elordi, but do with that as you will. The next film that I was kind of shocked with how positive the reviews were out of it was Springsteen Deliver Me from Nowhere. Robert Daniels, who I like over at RogerEbert.com, says this is a soulful and meditative character study of a depressed artist laid bare. David Elric went out to point out and champion Jeremy Allen White's performance in this movie. I've seen so many people calling out the performances of this movie. Stephen Graham has been a big one. You have Jeremy Strong, that's his name, Jeremy Strong, who's getting a lot of acclaim. This movie feels like it is going to rack up a few acting nominations, and it seems that this movie, as I saw one person describe, I think it was Pete Hammond, for Hollywood Daily, wrote that Springsteen Deliver Me from Nowhere is the real deal, an intelligent, deliberately paced journey into the soul of an artist. It sounds like this one's maybe a little bit more personal than here's 30 years of the hits all in one movie, and you'll just have a great time watching this. This one sounds like it's far more personal, which is what I was hoping for. This is Bruce Springsteen making Nebraska. A few other ones, we'll go through these quick. The Smashing Machine. This has been one that I've been anticipating for a hot second. I mentioned it on this channel before. I've heard such incredible things about this movie pre this award festival. So the fact that the award festival seemingly is agreeing with a lot of what I've heard. One, I've heard The Rock is great in this movie. No other way to describe it. You could hate The Rock. His performance is close to undeniable. Very excited to see that. I've heard there's some prickliness around the script, and some people had some issues with the pacing and characterization, especially around the Emily Blunt character. We'll see as that comes out. We'll be able to see this movie. I should be seeing it before the end of September. We'll see about that. Next one was Testament of Anne Lee. Amanda Seyfried getting a lot of praise for her performance. I don't know much about this movie outside of that, but I do know the Amanda Seyfried character performance was getting a lot of acclaim. And then last but not least, we have Hamnet, which is the new Chloe Zhao movie. Her first film since Eternals, which was 2021. The same year she won the Oscar for Nomadland, which came out in 2020, but won the Oscar in 2021. Sounds like this movie is devastatingly beautiful, and Jessie Buckley might be the front runner to win Best Actress. This is a weepy drama about a woman having to overcome the worst loss of one's life. I can't say I'm necessarily excited to go into this movie, but I've heard it's beautiful, and I have a feeling it's going to be very powerful. I'm very curious about it, and I think Chloe Zhao has gotten a bad rep post Eternals coming out. She's such a talented director, and I think even in Eternals, it showcases a lot of that. So let's talk about the power rankings then. I have 10 films that are on my Best Picture list as of September 2nd. Coming in at number 10, and I'm going to keep it there until I can't, Wicked for Good. I just have a lot of faith in this movie. I think it's going to deliver. I think that same energy that people loved from the first movie, I'm hoping they can land it in the second one, and that it kind of is accumulation of what the success of the last film is. I also kind of think Ariana Grande might be the front runner in Best Supporting Actress. We'll talk about that at a later date. Number 9, Jake Kelly, for all the reasons that I mentioned earlier. This is going to be a big Netflix push. It seems that the American audiences are really liking this movie. The Academy has a good history with Noah Baumbach as of recently, with him getting in for Barbie, as well as Marriage Story. It seems that Adam Sandler is almost a shoo-in for his first Best Supporting Actor nomination. I just think this film was probably maybe not the film that should have premiered at Venice, or maybe got a little hurt by premiering at Venice, and had this premiered at TIFF, had this premiered at Telluride, all of those film festivals. It might be doing a little bit better right now. I think it's just kind of a momentarily lapse. And some of the initial negative reviews, the more you read about it and the more people are seeing it, it seems that the Venice audience was just extra harsh to this movie. Number 8, I have The Secret Agent, which was a big film out of the Cannes Film Festival, acquired by Neon. This is a Brazilian film. Reason I noted, and I think it's very important to note, is besides what Brazil did last year with I'm Still Here, how they were able to champion that film, Neon has done such a great job of getting their Cannes picked up film into the Best Picture race. I think they're going to try repeating that with The Secret Agent, and they've been able to do it to great success. We'll see if they're able to do it again. I'm kind of not doubting them until I have to doubt them. That's why they're so high on this list. Number 7, a new entry on this list. It is A House of Dynamite. Everything that I said about it earlier, Catherine Bigelow making a new film. I mean, how exciting is this? And the fact that it is being as praised as it is, I hope this movie's great. Number 6, and I refuse to take it off the list. I don't care that's not premiering at any of the film festivals. I have One Battle After Another, which I think is actually now premiering at the New York Film Festival. If I've heard right, it might be having one of those world premieres where it's live streamed. A Q&A is live streamed right before, and then they screen the film at the same time at an IMAX. That's what they did last year for Megalopolis. Hopefully it has better results than Megalopolis did. I don't know. I'm just not doubting PTA and Leonardo DiCaprio until I have to. Number 5, Begonia, Yorgos Lanthimos, Emma Stone, combination that's worked wonders in the past. Number 4, I have Hamnet, which again, Chloe Zhao proven there. Incredible performances, incredible critical response so far. You can see where the love is coming from. Number 3, another film that I believe premiered at the Cannes Film Festival. This is Sentimental Value. This is the new film from the director of The Worst Person in the World, starring that same actress. Got so much acclaim. Stellan Skarsgård seems to be the front runner for Best Supporting Actor. Number 2, No Other Choice. Park Chan-wook, is this his year where Hollywood really acknowledges him the way they did Bong Joon-ho a few years ago, with the Academy becoming more international? You could certainly see that. And number 1, Until Somebody Kicks It Off, it is Sinners at my number one, most likely to be nominated for Best Picture. So that's that. So now let's just jump over to the most anticipated movies of fall 2025. I have 25 films on this list. I'm going to try and do this in a reasonable time because I could spend an hour on this alone. I have notes here. I'm going to try. Again, keyword is I'm going to try and make this as fast as possible when it comes to this category. So let's talk about it. Number 25, I had Mortal Kombat 2 simply for the reason that Carl Urban was going to be in this movie as Johnny Cage. They moved Mortal Kombat 2 to 2026, so I struck it off the list. So last second, literally like right before recording, when reviewing my notes, 25, I ended up giving the movie The Wizard of the Kremlin, which is the new movie starring Paul Dano that premiered at Venice, which follows a young artist in 1990s Soviet Union who morphs into an influential government official and spin doctor for Vladimir Putin, played by Jude Law. Alicia Vikander also stars in this movie along with Jeffrey Wright. Movie got fairly positive response out of Venice. With those actors, I'm curious what's going to happen with that subject matter. Vladimir Putin, I don't know. I'm hoping for the best with this movie. 2.5-hour runtime makes me a little nervous. Number 24. This one's a sentimental pick. It's because this is one of the first film reviewers that I started watching on this channel, who is now having his own film premiere later this year for Neon. It is Shelby Oaks, which is Chris Stuckman's horror directorial debut. Again, grew up probably at the age of 13 or 14, discovering Chris Stuckman. That really got me interested in this format that I now currently do. I just have all the hope in this movie. I'm a huge Chris Stuckman fan. Again, someone who's very meaningful for what I do now. I really want to see what he has in store for us. Number 23, I have, and this movie may deserve to be higher after its initial response from the film festival, specifically Telluride, where it premiered. I have Springsteen, Deliver Me From Nowhere, which is Springsteen recording Nebraska, which is a great pitch in and of itself. Here's the best pitch of this movie. Besides starring Jeremy Allen Wright, this movie also stars Jeremy Strong, Paul Walter Hauser, Gabby Hoffman, Stephen Graham, David Krumholtz, Mark Maron. Those are a bunch of my favorite guys, a lot of my favorite character actors, a lot of guys I just find interesting screen presence, just working in this film. I so want to see what this movie has just for the supporting performances. Jeremy Strong in a movie is going to make me go see that movie no matter what. 22. I have, and it's the reason it's on this list, even though we know nothing about it, but it is the return of a legend in Daniel Day-Lewis, Anemone. I know nothing about this movie. I saw the trailer. I don't think the trailer gave that much away. Daniel Day-Lewis in a movie, it makes the list. Number 21, this should also be higher, but again, I wrote this list before these films premiered at the film festivals. I have no other choice. Park Chan-wook's newest film, A Man's Violent Hunt for a New Job After Being Fired from His Job of 25 years. This is a corporate satire. This is him exploring this type of culture in business. The reviews are enough to get me to have this on my list. And again, Park Chan-wook makes great films. Number 20, this is a very sentimental pick because I went to Chico State from 2016 to 2020. I visited the town of Paradise frequently, and I had friends who lived there, and then their houses burned down. I remember seeing the smoke from the Paradise fires from my apartment while being in Chico. That's why I'm very curious to see how Paul Greengrass handles The Lost Bus, which stars Matthew McConaughey and stars America Ferrera, as Matthew McConaughey plays this bus driver who essentially has to get these group of kids out of Paradise as it's burning all around them. I hope this movie has respect towards the subject matter. I know that Paul Greengrass has done this before with United 93, and that is a universally accepted, compassionate movie towards everything that happened and didn't feel exploitive, in my personal opinion. Number 19, again, this one's just a little bit lower on this list, even though the film is probably going to end up higher on my list of when I actually see it. It's Hamnet, the historical fiction about William Shakespeare and his wife Agnes dealing with the death of their son. I typically am a sucker for stories like this historical fiction. Jessie Buckley in this movie, Paul Mescal, Chloe Zhao, a lot of people that I really like. I've never had an issue with Chloe Zhao that other people have had. I am hopeful for Hamnet. Number 18, I have Sentimental Value, which is Joachim Trier's follow-up to The Worst Person in the World, starring Renee Ronze, and now including Stellan Skarsgård. I also know I mispronounced Ronze's name. I do apologize. I just recently saw The Worst Person in the World. I thought it was a really good movie. Very curious to see what this movie is and what the acclaim around it is. Number 17, maybe this one should be higher because the more I've heard about this movie, the more I'm getting excited for it. It is the acting debut. It's the reason I know of this movie. It is the acting debut of one Mr. Conan O'Brien, this year's Oscars host, along with Rose Byrne, who I've heard is the reason to watch this movie. If I had legs, I'd kick you. I've heard this is a powerhouse performance from Rose Byrne. I've heard she is excellent in this movie, that this is an anxiety attack on top of a stress attack. Just on top of everything, this movie is a kettle, whatever the expression is, about to burst. I'm so curious to see what this movie has in store. I'm so curious in this Rose Byrne performance. I'm so curious to see how Conan O'Brien works as an actor. I thought this trailer was tense as all hell. I'm excited for this movie. Number 16, I just want a good laugh. I have Good Fortune, which is the Aziz Ansari comedy. The premise of this movie is hilarious. I wrote it down. Keanu Reeves plays the angel Gabriel, who goes down to Earth to tell the Ansari character that money isn't everything, and he switches him bodies with his wealthy boss, played by Seth Rogen, only to discover that money does solve all of his problems, and Gabriel loses his wings and is sent to live amongst humans. Aziz Ansari, Seth Rogen, Keanu Reeves, sign me up. I want to laugh. I'm hoping this movie is funny. I know all three of these guys can do great comedy work. Number 15, and this would be higher. This would be higher if I made this list earlier. Later, after we saw the reception of these films. But at number 15, I have A House of Dynamite, Catherine Bigelow's newest film about a doomsday scenario and the White House having to respond. Idris Elba and Rebecca Ferguson star in this movie. Again, the rave reviews would only make me push this movie up higher. Number 14, I have Jordan Peele's produced psychological thriller about a football player being pushed to the brink by his mentor, played by Marlon Wayans. I'm talking about the movie Him. I think it's an excellent trailer marketing they've been doing for this movie. I think it looks crazy as all hell. I'm really curious about this Marlon Wayans performance, which I've just never seen this out of him. I'm hoping this is great. It looks like a very upsetting psychological thriller. I'm hoping great things out of it. Number 13, we have Rental Family, Brendan Fraser's heartfelt comedy drama that seemingly understands perfectly how to capture the inherent sweetness of Fraser's star persona. That is what makes Brendan Fraser a great screen presence, is his inherent goodness and kindness. It's something that I think The Whale taps into, but Darren Aronofsky is unable to actually fully explore it. Rental Family, which stars this actor who essentially gets cast in the lives of families to help them work out stuff in their own lives by having this guy stand in for these. Kind of reminds me of Nathan Fielder's The Rehearsal, but seemingly a lot more sentimental. I don't know. I have hope for this movie. I really hope Fraser captures it. The trailer got me emotional on itself. Number 12, I have After the Hunt. Again, this would probably get lowered after the response of it. I just had it because Luca Guadagnino is a director that I like. New movie that is supposedly an exploration of Me Too and cancel culture. The only reason this movie wasn't initially higher on this list is because even when I wrote this premise a few days ago, it made me roll my eyes. Kind of sounds like that might be kind of the tone of this movie. Julia Roberts, Andrew Garfield star in this movie. Number 11, Begonia, Yorgos' newest film starring Jesse Plemons and Emma Stone. Hated Kinds of Kindness. Really liked Poor Things. Hoping it's more Poor Things than Kinds of Kindness. Again, the trailer looked good. Number 10, this is a film that will be premiering at the New York Film Festival. Bradley Cooper's newest film is This Thing On. I think Bradley Cooper has all the talent in the world. I think he's a great director. I'm so interested to see his rendition of the world of stand-up in New York City. Will Arnett stars in this movie, along with Bradley Cooper, along with Laura Dern. This reminds me a lot of Tom Hanks' Punchline. If we are getting an adult drama comedy directed by Bradley Cooper that is the same quality of his last two movies, I'm going to be so thrilled. Number 9, I haven't watched the trailer for this movie. I know it's out there. Timothée Chalamet in Marty Supreme, working with Josh Safdie in a sports movie. All I need to know about it. Chalamet, sign me up for the rest of his career. Number 8, poster drop for this movie today. It is Wake Up Dead Man, a Knives Out story. Here's the reason it made it so high. Josh O'Connor, Glenn Close, Josh Brolin, Mila Kunis, Jeremy Renner, Kerry Washington, Andrew Scott, Kaylee Spaney, and Thomas Hayden Church, along with Daniel Craig. Directed by Ryan Johnson, written by Ryan Johnson, who I've loved the past two Knives Out and Glass Onion. I've been such a fan of Ryan Johnson, of this character that Daniel Craig has built. I've had such a good time with both movies. I have a feeling I'll have a great time with the next one. Number 7, I have Wicked for Good. This is a conclusion to the Broadway sensation. I am so curious to see how they adapt this second half. Watching the play, which I did a year ago, the second half is really short. It's only an hour. It's very rapid pace. This is where they could actually expand the story and do a lot more with it. I'm curious to see what they do with this and how they beef it along. I hope that means they give more to Ariana Grande. I hope that means they give more to the actress who plays the Wicked Witch of the West, Elphaba. Oh my gosh, why am I blanking on her name? She's so talented. Someone in the comments will tell me what her name is. I am so sorry for blanking on her name. It will probably pop up later, and then I'll just scream it out during it. But she's a front runner to win Best Actress, I also think, right now. Regardless, I have all the faith in this. Number 6, this might be a surprising pick, but I have it very high. Edgar Wright, I believe in 2017, when asked what movie would he love to do a reboot or remake of, he said The Running Man. Well, 8 years later, he's doing that, starring Glenn Powell. Glenn Powell, who I've been a huge fan of. This is based on the Stephen King novella, starring Josh Brolin, Michael Cera, and Coleman Domingo. This trailer looks great. I'm so excited for this movie. I have all the faith in the world in Edgar Wright and Glenn Powell to nail The Running Man. Number 5, Jake Kelly. This movie hasn't moved, despite some of the negative reviews out of Venice. Noah Baumbach's movie about aging stardom, starring George Clooney in a self-reflective role. Adam Sandler, Laura Dern, Billy Crudup. Would be higher if I'd know for sure if I could see it in theaters. That was something I kind of marked down for Jake Kelly, where I'm just like, I hope I get to see it in theaters. I got to see White Noise in theaters, and that was a great experience. If I have to see Jake Kelly at my theater at home, like, I don't know, less excited. If I have to see it on my TV, just less excited for it. Number 4, The Smashing Machine, Benny Safdie and The Rock in a movie about UFC. So curious to see what this movie looks like. Now that we've heard The Rock is sensational in this movie, it makes me all the more curious. I'm hoping the best for a screen presence in The Rock that I've always liked. Number 3, Avatar, Fire and Ash. This will undoubtedly be one of the best experiences I have in a movie theater this year. I've had no issues with the previous Avatar films. I think they're both great. I love these worlds. I think they're so interesting. I think they're so fun. I think they're so creative from James Cameron. This is a movie that I guarantee you all at least be seeing twice in the theater, and the experience alone of the visuals will make this movie worth it, even if the movie is awful, which I don't think it will be. Number 2, again, Guillermo del Toro's adaptation of my favorite novel ever written in Frankenstein. How can I not be excited for Frankenstein? And number 1, had to be up there. They gave PTA $150 million to make his revolutionary conspiracy comedy thriller shot in part of my hometown of Sacramento, across the street from where I work. I am, of course, talking One Battle After Another. I'm going to be doing a rewatch of all of Paul Thomas Anderson's films and talking about them on my TikTok. So check out my TikTok, Ben Talks Film, if you want to hear more about that. Probably also be posting on my YouTube channel, so make sure you subscribe to that. So that is my most anticipated movies of 2025, which let's jump now to a movie that has been very widely seen that I finally got the chance to watch this weekend. Give me a second to take a drink of water. I think I'm starting to get a little sick because my voice is really closing up. Topic number 4 of today's podcast. We're talking We're talking K-pop Demon Hunter, which the reason I'm bringing this movie up is because there was a headline a few days ago, is Netflix's most watched movie ever with 236 million views, beating Red Notice. It was in theaters, I guess now 2 weekends ago, and it grossed somewhere between $18 to $20 million. Netflix doesn't release it. Anecdotally, I was at an early screening of Caught Stealing, and I think the theaters, both to my left and right, were showing K-pop Demon Hunter. And they looked sold out, and the crowds were like all dressed up. People were going crazy for it. It was the most streamed movie last week at 25.5 million people. It is probably currently the front runner to win Best Animated Picture unless Zootopia 2 comes in and amazes. So I was like, you know what? I'm way too late to this hype. But let's talk about K-pop Demon Hunter. A premise that I was just initially like, I don't know if I can deal with it. Just not a huge K-pop fan. Demon Hunter, like, I saw the trailer for this movie. I'm like, okay, this just doesn't appeal to me. I watched the movie with as much of an open mind as I could. And I have to give this film credit. I thought it was quite charming. I really liked aspects of this movie. I can't say that this movie fully worked for me. I thought some of the storytelling was a little rushed. I think this movie's under 100 minutes. I actually think this movie could have been a little bit better with like an extra 10 or 15 minutes attached onto it. I thought like some of the story beats were rushed. Outside of that, this movie's a really good time. I totally see why people are digging it. It's very hard for a movie to have one really catchy song. To then have a movie that has like 5 or 6 is incredibly impressive. The opening set piece to this movie, which I don't remember the name of the song. I apologize for that. But it really just explains the origins of this and who these people are and their fighting styles, all this. Like, it's a really great introduction. It's also a great song. It's a great musical, which again is just so hard to do. I was so charmed by it. I really liked that musical aspect of it. I noticed my foot just wiggling while I was watching this movie. Along with that, there's a lot else to like within K-pop Demon Hunter. The animation, just beautiful. Just absolutely beautiful. And I'm sorry for that startle. You may see my cat decided to jump on me as we're reviewing K-pop Demon Hunter. I just was so astonished by the sound of the music in this. And by that, and again, sorry, I am so distracted right now. Get off. Come on. Everyone, this is Tony with me. You have to sit if you're going to sit on me during a review. He doesn't seem to want to do that. Getting back on the animation, that's where I was actually focusing in on this movie. The animation is stunning. This is Sony Animation Pictures, who, when they want to, make great movies. They gave us Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. They gave us Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. They are able to do this. Mitchell and the Machines is another great example. When they try, they give us great movies. This is a movie that they try on, and it's absolutely stunning animation. Like, just such beautiful. It's some of the best animated set pieces that I've seen in a movie, and it's so brilliantly staged at times. It's a movie where you watch and you're like, oh, all the action set pieces are really kinetic and energetic, which is kind of hard to do in animation, where it's just, some of that kineticism can be lost without that live action effect. It's not done so in this movie, and it's a unique way to experience this movie. Again, I know this is probably very similar to other animes. Like, I'm not plugged into the world of anime, which in many ways maybe is like lessening my enjoyment or understanding of this movie. But just as an outsider looking in, I had a really good time with that quality, the animation, how beautifully rendered this world looks. Those are just impressive features of the movie. I also wanted to compliment the voice acting. They're all great. I especially think the main girl in this movie, who is the one that is grappling with who she really is, her tie to the demons, that was all great. That was, again, another performance where I'm like, this is them really working through. and doing something wonderful with this performance, really actually making these characters come alive. So often now what we get is we just get famous actors or actresses playing these roles, and it's just like we're banking on the star power. Maybe these actresses are famous in another country. I'm not sure. All I know is I am glad they got real voice actors in this, and I thought they did an excellent job with that. Some of the plotting itself I found repetitive, I guess you could call it, where I'm just like, you know what? I've seen this before on screen. I've seen like these beats even hit on itself in the movies. So the aspects like that, I was maybe not the biggest fan of. Again, I didn't have the connection other people are having with this. I have a feeling if I was more plugged into this world, if I was more plugged into K-pop, if I was more plugged into anime, I'd have more enjoyment watching this movie. Ultimately, what I had was a movie that I just enjoyed watching, which is a lot to say about a movie that's probably not aimed for me. This isn't necessarily a movie made for me, and I still got to enjoy it, and I'm really glad people are loving it. This is also showcasing the stupidity of streaming services, and specifically like Sony putting this movie out, giving it to Netflix, and then Netflix just deciding to be like, you know what, we're not going to put this out in theaters. This movie made 18 to 20 million approximately 2 months after its release, because I believe it came out at the end of June on Netflix. Imagine that for 1 second. Like, what if this movie got like a 6-week life cycle? That would be so much better for this film to have that life cycle and make that amount of money. Like, I just don't understand the business proposition that Netflix is doing. Now, maybe this film wouldn't have been popular if they put it in theaters and it needed that Netflix boost of people watch it 1 week and then like the second week they're telling all their friends like, hey, this movie's actually great. And that's how word of mouth grows. I don't know. All I know is that I think they lost a lot of money not putting this movie in theaters. K-pop Demon Hunter, recommendation for me for sure. This is probably going to win Best Animated Picture at this year's Academy Awards. I hope it does, because right now the competition is very thin, and this is by far the best animated film I've seen this year. 3.5 out of 5 stars for K-pop Demon Hunters. Let's jump to our next topic, which, in the interest of my voice dying and me, again, probably getting sick, I was going to talk about Trump lashing out at Seth Meyers, and I was going to talk about a class action lawsuit brought up by against Prime Video, against the definition of buying movies. We'll talk about those maybe next time. Again, I'm kind of concerned I'm getting sick, so I just want to kind of jump into a few other things while I still have a voice. Let's talk about my collections corner. This is basically everything that I've bought the last week or two. I have a lot that I'm going to be talking about. This is a new segment that I kind of want to introduce week to week on this show / podcast, whatever we're calling it right now. Let's start with the two most exciting. I have both my cats here now too, so they may jump onto me. So, in the corner of A24, one of my favorite horror films from A24 is Midsommar. It's one of my favorite horror films of the 21st century. It's one of my favorite A24 films. I saw it for the first time this July and was just astonished by it. I'm like, oh my God, like how have I not been this obsessed with this movie until now? So I got to check out this movie and I bought the director's cut released by A24. So you can see this cover. It's a really nice yellow. You get the printing on the sides. Director's cut, Ari Aster. And let's just check out this book. You got the director's cut. This is like one of my favorite not animations, but this is one of my favorite visuals of it. Look how beautiful this is. The disc of it, the artwork on it is just absolutely astonishing. But you get all of that in here. You get, and I have to show it through my green screen because my green screen's having problems. You get a forward by the one and only Martin Scorsese. You go through and you get different illustrations seen within the movie. Some of these I have to flip through quick because of YouTube censorship rules. But you just get to see and engage with the world that Ari Aster creates. Different sketches, different, again, a forward by Martin Scorsese, all in this beautiful binding. I have a bunch of these A24 collector's editions. Just love this. I can't wait to put on the 4K of this. Just so excited to own this. And then, being a huge fan of Midsommar, I also had to buy the screenplay book. A little bit expensive, but I think it's well worth it. Again, this is a screenplay I've already read through. It's just beautiful. One of the reasons I love collecting these is, besides how beautiful they look, I love reading screenplays and understanding, like, scene to scene, how something is paced out, how something is written on the text, how much of it's improvised, how much of it's staged. Like, just knowing the details of, like, oh no, this is something that was so meticulously thought out by Ari Aster and the team behind Hereditary. You just see so many of them. They have beautiful pictures throughout, just kind of stills going throughout of it. Just, again, glossy pages on some of these. Just absolutely stunning artwork. You just kind of, and again, I'm flipping through this quick. You get a back with just some of the songs from the movie in here. How to play them. Like, I don't know. I love how this looks. I love how it looks on my bookcase. If you're a fan of Midsommar or any of the films that they have on their screenplays, I have a few of these. Like, I highly, highly recommend it. I had to get it for Midsommar, being one of my favorite movies. But I also did some other A24 grabs this week. Let me grab some of those other Blu-rays and 4Ks. This one came in the mail. It's one of my favorite comedies of 2025. It is Tim Robinson and Paul Rudd in Friendship. Saw this movie, became instantly obsessed with it. Love that I now own this movie. A24 is actually so gracious in the fact that they had a misprinting of it. It's supposed to come with a toad printing on it, which anyone from the movie knows what that means. Just, I mean, how funny is that? But it's supposed to come with that frog. It doesn't. They just sent this yellow and blue one. A24 is actually sending me a replacement copy. Oh, I forgot. There's these little artworks from it. Oh, here, the other side. I mean, I get Tim Robinson in my hand. I mean, just look at him. Like, just an absolute icon here. So much to love about it. Again, I thought this movie was so incredibly funny. I'm so excited to own Friendship, to rewatch it. This is just a comedy that I can't wait for. Also, I haven't rewatched it since seeing it in theaters. I literally walked out to use the restroom for like 2 to 3 minutes, and apparently one of the funniest scenes happens with a soldier from, I forgot where in the Middle East the soldier's from, coming back, but I missed that scene. My friends were like, that's the funniest scene in the movie. Along with that, I also picked up Sing Sing. Wanted to get this great Coleman Domingo performance. I actually had the screener copy last year through the Independent Film Festival. I don't have that copy anymore. Again, just stunning artwork on it. I love these side prints that A24 does, which, oopsie, not even displaying it correctly. Again, just looks great on a shelf. Along with that, picked up a few more. Got this one off eBay. Was really lucky to find this for a good price. I think it's actually on sale right now on Amazon. It's Baby Girl, Nicole Kidman. Didn't love this movie, but I loved the Nicole Kidman performance in this movie. I thought it was just an audaciously brave performance from her. Again, just, I love the different colors on it. The artwork on it, which, again, very famous scene from that movie. Just, I think this does a really good job of displaying what this movie is about. So Baby Girl was another A24 pickup. It arrived earlier this week for me. And then one more. I haven't seen this movie. My friend kept telling me to see this movie. Got it on 4K. Using my Barnes & Noble membership. It is Bring Her Back, which just, again, I'm not going to watch this movie until my girlfriend gets back in town. Not because I think she's going to want to see this movie. It's because she's out of town for like 2 weeks. And I know, because I saw their last film, Talk to Me, and that was a movie that left me deeply disturbed. And like, I don't necessarily like have trouble sleeping after seeing horror films anymore. Every so often there's a film that unnerves me to my core. And Talk to Me was one of those where I just like, I had the jeepers right after seeing the movie and for the next few days. So Bring Her Back, I'll probably be seeing it later this month when she gets back in town. So when I see it and when I do presumably get scared, it's not as bad because at least she'll be in the same house as me instead of me being alone in a house that I already kind of think is haunted. So there's that. I have a few more pickups. In fact, I have a lot more pickups. Barnes & Noble has a lot of their Paramount titles on sale for 50% off. Picked up a lot of key ones. One of them, which I was so surprised I didn't own, was Mean Girls. Burned book cover, Lindsay Lohan, of course. I got this, I think, for like $10. Was just so happy to have this one. Got this one because I'm going to be talking about Paul Thomas Anderson on my TikTok channel soon as I go through and rewatch all of his films. Again, subscribe to my TikTok if you care. There Will Be Blood, Daniel Day-Lewis masterpiece, Paul Thomas Anderson masterpiece, one of the best films of the 21st century. Wish this was on 4K, but again, going to be rewatching this film soon. Glad to have it. Haven't seen this Tom Cruise movie, Days of Thunder, but again, I got for like $10 Blu-ray. I'm so curious to watch this. Again, I love this director. Oh, and this is a 4K transfer of the film, actually, Jerry Bruckheimer. And the director of this movie is Tony Scott. Duh. So yeah, all curious for this. You open it, it's the poster of Days of Thunder. So excited to have this one as well. Again, I got some great stuff from Paramount. One of my favorite 90s comedies in Clueless, which just disappeared because of my green screen. Wanted to rewatch this because I know Blank Check just did this on their podcast. So I wanted to rewatch this so I could then listen to this episode because it's been a few years since I've seen Clueless. And just one of the funniest movies of the 21st century. Now on 4K, Anchorman. One of my most favorite comedies that I watched a ton growing up. Glad to own it. I only had this movie on DVD, so I got rid of the DVD, replaced it with my 4K copy of Anchorman. That's all the Paramount releases. I also got a few other things from Barnes & Noble. They're doing a 50% off sale, all Arrow titles, or most Arrow titles. So I got these. I pre-ordered them a few weeks ago. Came in the mail like last week. It is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, their 4K release. I don't think I've ever seen this film. I'm aware of this film, but I don't think I've ever seen it. And to be honest, this one's the beginning. I have this one mixed. This one's actually the sequel to their reboot in 2003, I believe is the year. So curious to see this movie remastered on 4K. The first Texas Chainsaw Massacre is one of the scariest movies. I'm going blind into this movie, hoping it's good. Same with, I did get the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That is a gnarly, That is a gnarly ass cover on it. Speaking of gnarly ass titles, ordered this over from the UK, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. I'm going to binge all these movies this upcoming Halloween, doing a huge Halloween series on my TikTok, on my social. So again, follow me on that. And what horror section is complete without the Hellraiser box set from Arrow? This is a gnarly booklet, just giving you all this history and information about the Hellraisers with a few key pictures in there. I've never seen a single Hellraiser movie. It's looked too intense for me. But again, excited to see this. This is going to be, I have a lot of horror that I'm planning on watching. Here are the actual, and these are Blu-rays. Wow. I actually hadn't opened it yet. That was really cool. I mean, just like stunning work done by Arrow here. So as I put this away, that's the Hellraiser box set. I have still more. This was a really bad few weeks of spending for me. So bad that I actually ended up talking to my therapist about it and being like, am I overspending? Do I have an issue with self-control? Answer's probably yes, as I cannot put away this Hellraiser, so I'll have to package that up in a second because that's a lame video. Next collection I have, these I all got for a great deal, 3 for $30 on the Groove sale. It is the 4Ks of the Universal Monsters movies. So, got the Phantom of the Opera, my mom's favorite musical. I got The Invisible Man, probably my favorite Universal Monster movie. I got The Mummy, which is my girlfriend and my favorite ride at Universal. The Wolfman, which I've never seen. The Bride of Frankenstein, which everyone tells me is the best. I haven't seen it yet. Frankenstein, which I saw when I was a kid, haven't rewatched. Creature from the Black Lagoon, which is kind of the end of the Universal Monster run. And then a movie that I just rewatched this weekend. Dracula, which holds up. This movie, especially the first 20 minutes of this movie, are just so absolutely stunning. This looked incredible on 4K. The blacks were really pronounced on this screen, like just so great in coloring for it. Such a great job by Universal and the 4K team doing a restoration of this. So again, thrilled to have this. God, we still have way too much going on. Picked these up at Walmart because they were a good price. Kill Bill Volume 1, Kill Bill Volume 2. Didn't own the 4Ks of these movies. Only own the DVD copies of those, so glad to get those transferred. Again, doing a Guillermo del Toro series on my TikTok where I'm just kind of going through directors. So I needed both the Hellboys. I have Hellboy and Hellboy 2 now. Loved both of these films growing up. Big films for me. It's probably my introduction to Guillermo. These are fun. I ordered the Steelbook for How to Train Your Dragon, which comes with this magnet. My girlfriend saw this movie without me because I was at a Giants game when she went to go see it. I saw it. I have no connection to the How to Train Your Dragon universe. I saw the first film once on a train when I was like 10. Didn't watch any of the sequels. Really enjoyed How to Train Your Dragon. Like, just straight up this movie from this year, I was just like, I know so much of the complaints was like, well, it's basically just a rehash of the first movie. When you don't have that relationship with the first movie and you don't really even remember it, this movie really works. And you're just like, yeah, I'm really charmed by this movie. I like the action of this movie. Gerald Butler gives a shockingly good performance. But it also made me be like, well, I should then just pick up the rest. It felt weird owning just the remake of this movie. So I'm like, well, I have to pick up the animated films when they're on sale for Groove. They were 3 for $30, so I thought that was a great price. We're almost done doing this in preparation for the new Conjuring film. Conjuring 7 universe films. What is it? The 7 film collection. So it is The Conjuring, is The Conjuring 2, is The Conjuring 3, and then it is the Annabelle films and the Nun films. And then, since this is just the Blu-ray, I also picked up the 4K copy of The Conjuring, which I have a code there, so I'm not going to show this. But yeah, have never seen the Conjuring films. Very interested to see these films. 2 films left. I'm almost done. In the Heat of the Night, I picked this up. I have seen this film before. $15 on Amazon for the 4K. Wasn't going to pass that up. Criterion. And then finally, and this was a movie I actually got to watch in theaters this weekend, which was just so exciting because I hadn't seen this movie. Let me rephrase that. This was a movie that I hadn't seen in close to and maybe even over a decade. Jaws. We went Friday night to go see Jaws on 4K. Introduced virtually by Steven Spielberg. Here's the 4K steelbook of this movie. Again, just looks absolutely gorgeous. So let's talk about Jaws, which again, I was just so absolutely stunned. Like, my mouth was wide open rewatching this movie. It had been 10, 15 years since I had seen this movie. I saw it once as a kid. I remember liking it well enough, but to be honest, the movie is so slow that when you're young, you just don't understand how great some of these scenes are, especially the Robert Shaw character of Quinn. But everyone's great in this movie. Roy Scheider, Richard Dreyfuss, especially as Matt Hoffer, is one of my favorite characters in it. Jaws is, what I love about this movie is how it divides itself. Like, Steven Spielberg masterpiece right here. It's just some of the best staging we've had from Spielberg. Basically, we're in this New England summer resort town. Shark comes attacking. No one believes what's happening. The mayor is just trying to delegate all this stuff and just kind of lie to his people. Like, oh, it's not a big deal. They capture this other shark. They think it's all done. He's basically holding this all up. And then, of course, we learn about this shark, this great white shark who is a man-eater. And then it just becomes this quiet drama on a boat with these 3 great powerhouse actors on this boat, delivering some of the best dialogue ever written for it. Just like, it is absolute Steven Spielberg magic. One of the things that so surprised me is, and I've been to Universal Pictures, I've seen the animatronic for Jaws, or Bruce the Shark, and it's cheesy, and you think this movie is 50 years old. How great is this animatronic going to hold up? an animatronic that is famously was kind of a diva on set, that it would break down, that it would have so many problems. Like, how good was this movie going to look 50 years later? It looks stunning. Like, it's incredible to watch Jaws and just like see the shark and how scary it is. Like, there was legitimately 2 scenes where I think the animatronic looks bad, where you just look and you're like, oh, that doesn't age well. The animatronic, and it's kind of the full body. When you see it like from the side profile, I think it's like pretty particularly bad. When it's just like the straight up shot of the shark, or just the mouth where you just see a part of the fin, or it's underwater, like covered, like it's frightening as all hell. Like, this is a really intense, upsetting, scary movie. This movie, like, while watching, I was like, I've noticed myself sweating. I noticed myself getting really nervous. I knew what happened to these characters, and I was still like, wow, I'm really upset during this movie. Like, it is kind of visually like so distressing to me to watch this. Like, it's kind of a masterpiece by Spielberg that he made something this commercial that is also at times like just so uber scary. Like, this is so clearly inspired by Alfred Hitchcock. It's what Hitchcock does so well with tension. Spielberg just understands that to the highest degree. It's kind of incredible, especially when we're on the boat. When this movie slows down in the second half, the character development specifically of the professional shark hunter played by Robert Shaw is just incredible. The scene where he's on the boat and he's explaining this accident that happened during World War II, where his boat got hit by, I believe it's a Japanese sub, and then this like sharks come out swimming. Like, this monologue that he has with the chemistry that he has with Richard Dreyfuss and Roy Scheider, sorry, is just absolutely like incredible. It's so many of these scenes that just work so well. The other thing that works so well about this movie is just how beautiful it is. 50 years later, and this movie just like has incredible cinematography. It is so well shot, so well captured. Steven Spielberg, this is his 3rd real film, and I think this is technically his 2nd studio film. And he understands it so well. Like, you really do see a master at work, where you're watching something and you're like, no one could make this movie look as good as it does now, let alone that they did this 50 years ago. Every scene, especially on the water, Spielberg talked about it in this opener that he had for the movie that we saw digitally. It's like this 3-minute spiel that Spielberg does before the movie, where he talks about the experience of making this movie. And he talks about like the fact that he had never shot on the ocean before. He had never shot on water before. Doesn't show in this movie. This looks like someone who's been doing this his entire career. That's the incredible thing of Spielberg. He makes everything look so easy in this movie, despite this being one of the most notoriously difficult shoots in it. But everything about this movie, the tension, the scene where you have the Richard Dreyfuss character go shark diving, it's so intense. The scene where Robert Shaw's getting eaten alive by the shark, just like, again, one of these moments where you're just like, this is stunning. This is beautiful. This is why we go to the movies. This is why I love movies. It is just the full package. John Williams' score is, of course, iconic. The thing that really, really impressed me while watching this movie was just, again, how smart this movie understands its characters. Every trauma that every character goes through, every neuroticism, I think it's so much done. Richard Dreyfuss giving a great performance in this movie. He is the definition of neurotic in this movie and has so much personality at play. It's just all so expertly managed with one another, and it's so incredible to behold that while watching this 2-hour and 10-minute movie, I was fully engrossed on a movie that I had seen before. The 4K remaster of this movie is beautiful. I would suggest checking it out to anyone who's never seen this movie on the big screen. Anyone who loves this movie, you got to check it out this way. I hope people go see it. It's a really cool project that they're doing. I love that before the movie, they actually aired trailers to other 4K remasters that they're doing. At least at my theaters, they didn't show like the normal 2025 trailers. They're like, hey, if you're here to see Jaws 50th, maybe you'll be interested in a month to go see Back to the Future 40th, or in 2 weeks, you'll be interested to see the 4K restoration of Apollo 13, which comes out in 2 weeks. Like, all that, like, it just made for a really wonderful, lovely movie theater going experience. And I hope this is something they continue to do. I think this is a great avenue for studios and movie theater chains to operate in, which is literally mining nostalgia, which Hollywood has been trying to do by just giving us beautiful versions of the movies that we loved and getting to see them. None of that AI crap that we're seeing from the Wizard of Oz at the Sphere, but actually just like, hey, we're going to get dedicated artists in there to remaster, to restore these films into their original glory and get the most beautiful quality picture and sound that you can in the year 2025 and really just deliver something special with it. I love this project. I love that studios have been embracing it. I love that movie theater chains have been embracing it. And I love getting to see Jaws this way. Again, huge recommendation. Also, if you can pick it up, I know this was kind of a limited edition for its 50th anniversary release. I got so lucky to find this at Walmart. Check it out, Jaws. Buy it. I mean, the steelbook of this is just absolutely beautiful. It's one of my favorite steelbooks. I love the artwork on it. Yeah, I mean, who needs a critic to go and tell you, go see Jaws? Like, that's the most obvious thing I could do. But truly, go see Jaws. It's a great time. It's a great time in the theaters. I love seeing it. 5 out of 5 stars. No questions asked. Anyway, my voice is dying. I'm struggling to finish through this. I am probably maybe even running a slight fever because I've been sweating all day. But thank you to everyone who watched this very long video. I'm going to be trying to do this as me moving forward. This is just such a more conducive way for me to talk about it, to do kind of this long form podcast instead of me doing like 5 recordings smaller in the week. I want to do 1 or 2 bigger shows where we're focusing not only on movie reviews, we're not only just focusing on the Oscars/award race, we're also talking movie news, politics that come up, maybe TV reviews. I'm hoping that I'll be back in a few days to talk the new episode of South Park. Didn't talk the last one because I just didn't feel that I was needed to. I didn't think that episode was that special or that good. Maybe this episode this week will be better. Anyway, thank you to everyone who's watched. I hope you consider subscribing to this channel for more. And again, follow me on TikTok. I'm trying to do a lot more with my social medias that way. Ben Talks Film on all of my platforms. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye.